Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I don't have the verse. It's the last verse in the chapter.
Yes, Maharaj, and the verse doesn't have a purpose.
There's no purport, no. That's okay. We'll just do the last verse. You can chant the Sanskrit if you like. I don't have it, so I don't have any internet. So you're going to chant?
Vishnu was most liberal, spoke to King Indra, Sahasraksha, the secret heaven that protected Indra and conquered the military power of the demons.
Om Agyadaminandasya Dinanjana Salakaya Chaksuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadam Mayam Dadati Svavadantikam Vancha Kalpacho Vyustya Kripa Sindhu Vaevaja Patitananam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So I will just continue some last notes I have in regards to the protection that Krishna is giving us. So I left off yesterday Yeah, well, I'll read it again because it's a very nice piece of encouragement for us in our daily practices. Because we all have certain expectations, and these expectations are not necessarily necessary. Just because we actually have Krishna who is doing everything for us. In other yoga systems, it's different. You have to do everything yourself. If you want to control your senses or your mind, then it's really up to you to accomplish that. However, in Krishna consciousness, it's a little bit different. In our little package of perfection, we make an effort. We can be achievers, but at the same time, we're also receivers from of the mercy above. And this is why Prabhupada, when he came to the West, besides those prayers that he offered to Guru and Krishna, even prior to him coming to the West, he made preparations, and the preparations he made was to secure the mercy of the 6 Goswamis, specifically Rupa Goswami, the mercy of Advaita Prabhu, and others. And he knew that without their favor on him, he was not going to be able to do anything. Which is a lesson for us, whenever we want to achieve something in our own service to Krishna, we must approach Guru first and get his blessings. If he's not personally around, then that's okay. You just ask for them anyway. And he's situated within the heart of a disciple. And he'll give the blessings. This was a question that was once asked. How much is the Guru within the heart of the disciple? And Prabhupada said, the Guru is within the heart of the disciple as long as the disciple wants him to be there. So that's quite a statement, actually. The Guru will always help. And of course we have, Chaita Guru within the heart too. So there's nothing to be concerned about in regards to becoming Krishna consciousness. We make our little effort. We do our best and we let Krishna do the rest. Because we get many, as spiritual masters, we get many letters. How do I questions. And actually all how do I questions can be answered simply by saying that you cannot. How do I? Just like Arjuna, he also asked Krishna, you're asking me to do something which is, not possible. To control the mind is like controlling the raging wind. And therefore it's impossible. And then Krishna says, yes, that's true. But with practice and determination, you can win over. Because then you have the help of Guru and Krishna. So therefore Krishna's name is Hrishikesha. And Hrishikesha means the one who can himself master over the mind and the senses. He will do it for you. Because it's all part of the package of Krishna consciousness. So there's really no need for this poor me. I am not qualified, I'm not this, I'm not that. Because besides being achievers, we can also be receivers. We will receive the mercy from above. So therefore I quoted this yesterday. I asked for strength and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom and God gave me problems to solve. I asked for prosperity and God gave me a brain to work. I asked for courage and God gave me obstacles to overcome. I asked for love and God gave me troubled people to help. I asked for favors and God gave me opportunities. I received nothing I wanted, but I received everything I needed. So this is a very powerful point, powerful statements. And the conclusion, as I mentioned yesterday, live life without fear, confront all obstacles and know that you can overcome them. accept the pressure and become a diamond. As I was mentioning yesterday, we're like diamonds that are in the rough. We surely are diamonds because we're all parts and parcels of Krishna. So we could even say we're little Krishnas. Good morning, little Krishnas. In that sense, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. We cannot be quantitatively the same as Krishna, but from the qualitative point of view, we can adopt all these wonderful qualities of the demigods. 76%, I think it's mentioned, that the demigods, their qualities reach to the level of 76%. Krishna, of course, is 100%. And the Vishnu Tattvas are 96%. And then Lord Shiva is something like 83%. And the other demigods is 76%. So we can actually achieve to the level of 76% of all qualities. So that's a big percentage, and it's given to us through our sincere service. We should not just say, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, and when the pressure is on, we are something else. Like we say, oh, the pressure is too much, but then we think of a diamond. Originally, what is a diamond? It's just a piece of coal, but it undergoes an intense pressure, and then it transforms into a diamond. It's a good example. There's one story in my book also called the what is it called? The teacup story. And can I tell that story? It's an interesting story, but it's got a lot of relevance to ourselves in Krishna consciousness. There was a man who liked going to museums to look at ancient objects, and specifically pottery. And he was looking around in one of these what did I say? What do they call these places where people go? Huh? An antique. It wasn't an museum. That's it. Sorry, museum. So he was in one museum and he saw one teacup on the shelf. It was very nicely painted and everything, and he became intrigued by this teacup, and he asked a person on the desk, could I have a look at that teacup? And so it was passed to him, and he was looking and admiring it. And then to his surprise, the teacup started to speak to him. He said, yes, you see me now, but can I tell you the whole story, how I became a teacup? He said, it started off, I was in the mountains. I was just a part of a lump of clay within the mountains. And I was there for thousands and thousands of years. And one day, some workers in the mountain, they took me, the part of the mountain was taken away, and they took me, the piece of clay, to a workshop or to not a workshop, storage place. And I was in the storage for a long time too. And then one day my owner arrived to purchase me. So he took me home, he took me to his workhouse, and I was on the shelf also for many years until one day he also came in and picked me up, and he started to beat me. He started to squeeze me, thump me, and slap me on the table. Slap, squeeze, thump, slap, squeeze, thump, knead. Slap, squeeze, thump, knead. Squeeze, slap, sleep, slump, sleep. Anyway, he was going on for a long time. You know, I think there's something about getting the air out of the clay. And I was pleading with him, stop, 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 this is hurting me. And my master said, no, I have not finished with you yet. And he carried on for another half an hour. And then suddenly he put me on a spinning wheel, and he was spinning me around so fast that I started getting really dizzy and feeling very sick. But as he was spinning me, he was also squeezing me into a new form. But it was all so painful, so disoriented. And I asked him again, stop, stop, stop. This is not, I feel very bad. I feel the pressure is on me. And the master again said, no, no, I have not finished with you yet. But then after 10 minutes, he did finish. He formed me into a teacup shape, and then he put me on the shelf. He returned again in the afternoon and put me into one of these ovens, which increased in its temperature more and more and more. My master could not hear me, but I said it anyway. Stop. Stop. Get me out of here. And my master said, no, I have not finished yet. Anyway, it went on and on. This story goes that after some days, he was then put into an even hotter oven. Before going into the hotter oven, he was painted with all these chemical paints, and that was too much for him. And he was put into the hotter oven, and he was in the hot oven, and he almost died. He knew that he had no way of overcoming this last piece of pressure. So he just resolved himself, okay, I either live or I die. And right at the last moment, the door of the oven opened, and he was placed on the shelf. And then the master, with a mirror, placed it in front of him. Now you are ready to serve. It's a wonderful story. I mean, this was just a glimpse of the expressions that this teacup was explaining. So he was explaining that, this is my history, and to get where I am today, I had to undergo a lot of inconveniences. So I put this story in my book because I could see the resemblance of life of a devotee, how Krishna, he's personally orchestrating our Krishna consciousness in such a way that he's reforming us, he's purifying us and reforming us, so that by the time we go back home, back to Godhead, we will be ready to serve nicely. And we should just accept the pressure. that we get and not complain. And it's not easy because sometimes the pressure is really on us. And it's almost as if, it's almost as if, the pressure is so much that we think that we cannot continue being devotees anymore. It's too much for us. But that final, it's too much for us, can be the actual beginning of a major turning point within our spiritual life, that things suddenly start getting so much better, so much easier. That which was difficult before suddenly becomes very, very easy, as if we were not doing it ourselves, but Krishna was personally doing it for us. So that's what we've got to look forward to, that when Maya comes to Radharani and says, you see that devotee down there? He's good. He's passed all my tests, all my challenges and temptations. He's passed them all. And Radharani looks down, yeah, okay, so I know this devotee, yes, I've been watching him. So then she goes she goes to Krishna and says, Krishna, Krishna, see that devotee down there? It's good. And then what does Krishna do? Who can say? Huh?
I won't disagree with Radharani.
What's that?
He thinks I won't disagree with Radharani.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. What else does he do? He will call Maya and say, you see that devotee down there? Leave him alone. Now he's mine. And it's explained in some of the Shastras that Krishna personally takes over from the Supersoul. It's no longer the Supersoul directing your wanderings, but Krishna personally takes charge. So that's an interesting twist to our Krishna consciousness, because then it's almost as if you do nothing and Krishna does everything for you. And you compare it to when you became first a devotee and everything was so difficult, you were wondering how long you would last, because it was not easy. But Krishna or Maya has to test you. That's her service. She's a devotee of Krishna, and her service is to examine you, to monitor you, to prepare you so that you can overcome all the challenges. But we should not be thinking our business is to put all other devotees into intense pressure. I will reform you into a diamond. So I'll put you in so much pressure till your brain cracks. No, we shouldn't think in this way, because enough pressure will be there. On the basis of what we deserve in this life, enough pressure will be there anyway. And then when Krishna notes our sincerity, he will put more pressure. So Krishna does it himself. So he knows as much as we can take. We don't have to go around pressurizing and making other devotees' life miserable. You should look at it from the other side. The devotee of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord. So when the Lord is cooking cooking us all, then we should be, patting everyone on the back, saying, Prabhu, it's okay. Mataji, it's okay. Live for another day. Don't die now. I don't know if I mentioned this song, but I'll sing it again. It's a nice song. Hold on. Did I mention that? Hold on song. In the midst of the darkness, Krishna's love is the guiding light. If there's something wrong, he can set it right. His inconceivable beauty will surely capture everyone's heart. So let us get to know him, and with that we'll make a brand new start. Krishna is the giver of pleasure, and to serve his lotus feet is the key. Only this will put an end to our self-inflicted misery. Now, this is an interesting point. Self-inflicted misery. Most of our misery is self-inflicted. Our worst enemy is ourself. And of course, the reason of that is that we've undergone, in the past we have served Maya in so many different ways. It's formed an impression within us. This is not a very good impression. And this is one of the other reasons why we're serving every day, to cover the old impressions, because they're so deep-rooted. I remember once I was in a taxi. I had already been a devotee for probably 15 or 20 years. And the taxi driver, it was in the West here. I don't remember where it was, but he had his radio on. And in the radio, one of the Beatles songs, She Loves You, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I had my japa bag, I was chanting my japa. And then this music was playing, and I looked down and I saw that I was tapping my foot to the music. And I was like, wow, the impression is so strong, it's still there. Even above my chanting, it was very apparent. He is the friend of the fallen. He can destroy the evildoers at will. He protects his devotee as he did by lifting Govardhan Hill. If you're thinking the Lord has left you, just remember that he's always in your heart. So hold on, don't despair. How can you cry when you know Krishna is there? Ain't it the truth? We haven't got to care because he's right by our side. He's our eternal guide. Krishna is the source of creation. Without his sanction, we just can't do a thing. It is of his glories that the sages constantly sing. Krishna, he is patiently waiting for us to finish playing our little games. And if we really want to please him, we'll be calling out his name. This is another song. Let's be glad. Let's be happy. Let's be glad. I know I've been hard-hearted. I know that I've been cruel. I did so many useless things I didn't really need to do. Now I want to tell you that I'm going to do my best to change my ways, lift this haze, and leave this awful mess. Let's be glad. Let's forget all those bad feelings that we had. Let us push those evil thoughts out from our mind, the wicked, sinful kind. Well, it's true the modes of nature can influence the mind, But when we're strong and just hold on, we'll get relief in time. The Lord will never give you a test you cannot take. Suffering strikes the worldly minded. Let's not make that mistake. Sometimes can't help but wonder how much more I can stand. But when we try to help ourselves, the Lord will surely lend a hand. He's standing there beside us, ready any time we call, waiting oh so patiently so to bless us one and all. So let's be glad. Let's forget all those bad feelings that we had. Let us try to serve Krishna all the time. Oh, let's be glad. So. Anyone would like to mention some experience they've had? Share some experience they've had where Krishna has protected you? That would be nice to hear.
And when we had our first leader of the yatra leave, and at the manner they were reading out the letter, and I could feel this like subtle tap on my shoulder saying to me, now's your excuse for giving up Krishna consciousness if you ever wanted one. And
What letter is that?
it was a goodbye letter from Bhagavan.
By Bhagavan. Huh?
Yeah. In a kind of roundabout way. And so it was like, well, there it is. There you have it. That's the best excuse for giving up Krishna consciousness.
So can you say it again? I didn't quite get it all. So someone was reading a letter?
Yeah, it was like the letter that he'd sent to the yatra, Bhagavan Prabhu, about giving up his guruship. And so we were all there in the temple at the Mana, and so it was just very apparent to me that was a test. Are you going to continue on anyway? Do you still have faith in Srila Prabhupada? Are you going to practice? And so later on, some devotees did also encourage me in that way, that, you know, the holy name is still there, Srila Prabhupada's books are still there, service is still there. So some didn't pass the test, unfortunately.
Very good. Well, it's a major one. Whew. Ouch. The same with Harikesh. Many of his disciples left after he left. Anyone else? Come on, you must have something to tell.
So it was in the early 80s. I was a young devotee at that time. And it was during the December marathon. Everyone had gone out for Sankirtan, and I was basically staying back with just a handful of devotees to see through dinner program, deity worship, cooking, everything. And one night after the Sunday feast, I started to feel a little bit ill. And I remember laying on the floor, and my side was really hurting and whatever. And I got up the next morning, and I felt sort of okay. And so it was going on through the week, and by Friday, I was could not even keep my eyes open. So I went and I laid down on the floor of my office at about 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even have breakfast. And I woke up later about maybe 6 in the evening. I hadn't gotten up, rolled over, gone to the toilet or anything all day. I was just completely out. So there was a devotee there, and she said, well, you know, you should call my father because he's a doctor and he might be able to tell you what's wrong. So I called her father, and he said, well, I think you might have appendicitis, and you should probably go to the emergency room. And I said, well, it doesn't hurt that bad, and I'll feel kind of foolish if I go and it's nothing. And he said, well, no, it's nothing to fool around with. They'll understand. So I went to the emergency room about maybe 8 o'clock in the evening, and about 3 a.m. they decided that they would look at me. And so the doctor came in, and he said, yeah, I think you have appendicitis, and you need to have an operation. And I said, you mean like on Monday? And he said, no, you need to do it right now. And I said, well, I'm not doing it right now, you know. He said, well, you can leave, he said, and if your appendix burst, then you have about an hour to get back here or you're a dead man. So I called Narmasetu Prabhu, who was pretty much in charge then, because Bhadra Narayan was out traveling. And he said, no, you should stay and have the operation. So I said, okay, well, I will. And it was Christmas weekend, as a matter of fact, so it was very, very busy there. And so about 6 o'clock the next evening, they took me into the operating room and did whatever they were going to do. And then the next day was Sunday, and the doctor wasn't around. And then the day after that was Christmas, and the doctor wasn't around. And so I really didn't even know if I had appendicitis. I didn't know what actually happened or what they treated me for. And then, so when he came in on Tuesday morning, I said, well, did I have appendicitis? And he said, actually, he said, your appendix had burst. He said, probably about a week ago. He said, and he said, it's amazing to me. He said, your intestines just started to heal itself shut. He said, and the poisons that were coming out of your appendix was just slowly coming into your body and making you immune. He said, and it's about 1 in 100,000 that would survive that. He said, didn't you feel any pain? I said, well, it hurt a little bit, but it wasn't a problem. So I understood that Krishna protected me there.
Nice story. Thank you. You have a story?
You were saying about being under pressure, and you mentioned about saying Haribol, and then under pressure you can become a different person. So, personally speaking, it does happen. So, what advice can you give when under pressure, that you don't become a different person and still remain kind of kind and compassionate?
I do this one workshop when I'm doing my japa workshops. It's a very nice workshop, and it's quite revealing. We could do that workshop now. I don't think it's so bad in front of the deities. But I'd need 2 volunteers. Who's the smallest person here? You are? Well, let's take you 2 then. Can you come up? Yeah, you. No, you. Can you come up? Oh, you need to just stand here facing a little bit forward. That's fine. And you need to take your jacket off. And you also need to stand here and face the wall. It's here, just behind him, and face that way. Face that way. Okay. A little bit forward, and you a little bit back. True. Okay. So one of our problems is we don't see Krishna. We can feel him sometimes, but we don't see him. And a lot of our services is based on a leap of faith. Later, that faith becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's very obvious Krishna is there. But in the neophyte stage, we're always questioning, do I really want to be a devotee? Because Krishna, we don't see Krishna as there. Sometimes we've seen things getting worse, more worse than when we started. So this is a nice exercise. And sorry, what was your name again?
Ashish.
Huh?
Ashish Maharaj.
Ashish. And you're, huh?
Raghunath.
Raghunath. So Ashish needs to fall back on Raghunath Prabhu's arms. Wait, not yet. And first you need to put your arms like this, so he will catch you under the arms. And you're not allowed to step back. You cannot step back and you cannot step forward. Right? So you've already moved from where I put you. Go back a bit. More. Okay. So we're going to count to 3. Actually, we're going to chant for you first. Okay, we'll chant a little bit. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Okay, Ashish, are you ready? Not yet. We're going to count 3, okay? After 3, you fall back. Just have enough faith that he will catch you. And back a little bit more. Come on, back. All right. 1, 2, 3. Try it again. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Very good. And we haven't finished with you yet. Now we're going to put the faith stakes higher. So swap around. So Raghunath has to have faith that Ashish will catch him. And Ashish has to have faith that he will catch him. So this is the next one. Come a little bit forward. You're also a little bit forward. Okay. A little bit more. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Are you ready, Raghunath? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. Now there is a 3rd level, but we won't entertain that one. It's a Russian roulette one. I have three pieces of paper. On two pieces it says "catch me," and on one piece it says "don't catch me." So the one who's in the front can choose which paper he wants. So he takes the paper and he gives it to the person behind who's going to catch him or not catch him. And he opens up the paper to see what he must do. So it's kind of a little bit of a Russian roulette thing. And it's a little bit kind of gambling, you know, so I don't usually do it. But actually, the truth is that on each paper it says "catch me." So it's not even Russian roulette. But sometimes we do that. It's a good one. But yes, thank you so much for helping with that demonstration. And usually in my workshop, I get everyone then to pair up and do the same. I won't do it now, but it's a good workshop because it demonstrates exactly our position in Krishna consciousness, especially in the beginning of spiritual life. And your question was, again?
Under pressure, we can become a different person.
Right. So what do? You do what you just did. I cannot see, I don't know enough if this devotee will catch me. It's pressure, you're under pressure, and you don't want to hurt yourself. So what did you do? What did you do in that situation?
What I normally do or what I should do?
What did you do?
Rely on Krishna.
Yes, you were fully dependent. So you put your dependency on Krishna higher. That's what you do. Any other experiences? Mataji, do you have anything you want to share? And in your own life as a devotee, which surprised you, and it was clear that Krishna was right by your side? Oh, but you're...
One time we were on Harinam, and this was in Penrith. Most of the devotees here have heard the story. So there was just 3 or 4 of us doing Harinam. We were on this Every Town and Village program where we used to systematically go around all the towns and villages in Dhoti and Tilak, chanting and doing books, doing shops. And some youths, some kind of rough guys started following us, and at first they were making fun of us, and they had chips and curry sauce, which is a kind of yellow thing, and they were using the curry sauce to put tilak on themselves, and then they started throwing chips at us, and then they were just becoming more inimical. We decided to stop. We decided to ignore them, basically. But they wouldn't go away. Sometimes you ignore a problem and it goes away. This wasn't going away. And in fact, they were getting more and more antagonistic. And we had done the Harinam, and it was time to leave the town. So rather than stopping the Harinam and then going back to the car, and they were following us, it looked like they weren't going to stop pursuing us. They had some not so nice intentions. So we carried on with the Harinam. As we come off the main street and we're going to the car park, we had to go through some quiet streets, and they looked like they were just about ready to move in and do some nasty activities. So we started chanting and singing pranams, and immediately as soon as we did this, then some very tall guy with an Alsatian dog came and intercepted them. He could see what was going on. So I don't know where he came from, because it was just as soon as we started taking shelter of Lord Nrsimhadev, then this person appeared and chased them off.
Nice. Such a nice story.
There was one time I was in Hungary, in Budapest temple, and it was Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day, and I went to go to bed, and as soon as I started falling asleep, I could feel this subtle entity choking me and suffocating me, and I couldn't even chant. I couldn't chant Lord Nrsingadev's name. So, but I just envisioned Lord Nrsingadev in my mind. And as soon as I did that, then the subtle entity just disappeared. I could breathe again. So it was just, to me, it was a verification that even if I can't chant, if I can just think of the Lord in such a situation, then I'll be protected.
Oh, yes. Super. Any other questions?
And you were saying about there's certain texts, and we have to pass those, and that's how we verify ourselves. So that's Maya's job to do that. So sometimes a devotee doesn't stay the course; he gives up and he strays off the path. So we see that Lord Chaitanya had the ability to just take everyone back to Godhead if he wanted to, like with Vasudev Dat. He just decided he would vacate the entire universe and deliver everybody. So it seems that, if you asked the Lord, I don't think I can pass this test, please can you help me, then the Lord could come in and intervene, and even though you're not really qualified, he helps you to pass the test that normally would fail. So is it that these devotees that have failed, at least temporarily anyway, that was just because they didn't ask the Lord to help?
Well, it's interesting. I have one last piece of dialogue here between Krishna and Arjuna, which could fit into your question. It's from the Sri Gita Amrita, where Arjuna is questioning Krishna. Why are you favoring devotees? You say that you're equal to everyone. Why you favor devotees even when devotees fall down, misbehave, but you're still so partial to them? And I don't know if I want to read all of this because there's probably not much time. I mean, it would take 5 minutes. But it's a really nice piece of dialogue. What do you think? Shall I read it? This is Krishna speaking. Such learned souls who desire eternal association with me by meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Although they do not desire anything from me, I still provide it. Even the burden of maintaining their body is carried by me as a householder takes care of his own family members. Arjuna, what kind of devotee are they who let you carry their needs on your head, Krishna? Krishna, they have not given me this burden. I take it by my own sweet will. I can create universes, so this is not a burden for me. Rather, I do it out of love for them, just like a young man who loves a young girl carries his beloved lady on his shoulders. In the same way, I take pleasure from carrying the needs of my devotees. For those who are struggling in Krishna consciousness and have lost all hope of going back home, back to Godhead, we can gather strength and confidence from Krishna's eternal promise. Arjuna, you deliver only your devotees and bring them to you, not the non-devotees. Does this mean that you have some attachment and aversion? No, said Krishna. I am not partial, but my devotees are in me and I am in them. Actually, I am in everything and everything is in me. My devotees are attached to me, but others have no dealings with me. Practically speaking, for them, I do not exist. Actually, there are so many living entities, and I maintain everyone. Therefore, I'm not equal. I'm not equal like rain. So I am equal like rain. But some trees watered by the rain give sweet fruits, and others give bitter fruits. That is not a defect of the rain. It is their nature. It is not my attachment or aversion. I'm rewarding equally, but my devotees get special treatment. He gets special treatment, so much so that even if he commits the most abominable action, if he's still determined to serve me, I do not reject him. Rather, he is still to be considered saintly. Arjuna, yes, I accept that he is a sadhu when he is worshipping you, but if he is doing nonsense, then he is not a sadhu. Krishna, no, Arjuna, in every regard, he's a sadhu because he's properly resolved to serve me. He is thinking that I am unable to give up my sinful activities and I'll probably go to hell. But I'll never give up devotional service to Krishna. Therefore, I consider him a sadhu. Arjuna, how do you accept the service of such an irreligious man whose heart is polluted by lust, anger, and greed? Aren't his offerings contaminated by these things? Krishna, he very quickly becomes righteous and I accept him because he laments remembering me again and again. And because the lamentation in his heart burns him. He's thinking, alas, alas, there is no other devotee lower than me. I'm a black spot for a devotee. Again and again, he curses himself and becomes purified due to his repentance. Or you can take it in this way, Arjuna. Such a person, even when committing sin, his righteousness exists in him in a subtle form. He's taking the medicine of devotion, although the fever remains. He is not afraid, for he knows that the fever of improper activity will go away by the power of devotion. The sinful acts are like snakes with the fangs removed. Thus he obtains eternal peace, for his lust will go away and never return. Arjuna, I understand that you are saying that he will become righteous. There is no dispute, but if he remains sinful and does abominable activities, do we still consider him as sadhu during his life? Krishna becomes angry, his eyes become enlarged. My devotee never perishes. Even if he dies, he does not become degraded. Arjuna, many people will not agree with you. How can I help them to understand? Krishna, take mridangas, take kartals and drums, and bang everything loudly. Go everywhere where they're speaking like this, and raise both hands in the air and make a vow. Take an oath in my name and say this: the devotee of the Lord, the Lord's devotee, even in improper behavior, shall never perish. Well, this is very, very powerful points here. That if we regret and lament our fallen condition, it's saying here that even just that lamentation, that regret, is actually purifying us. Not that we go and do something bad just to experience that, but if it's unintentional and difficult for a young devotee to remain, dedicated and falls away, still Krishna does not reject him. And we've seen that within our society, where many big men have fallen, but they have returned after many, many years. I was listening to Rameshwara, is his name? Rameshwara. I was listening to his offering because they had one Zoom presentation on Prabhupada's appearance day. The North American devotees had their own program, and I was watching it. And Rameshwara, he did a wonderful offering. I mean, he's been inactive for so many years, but his offering was so powerful. I took notes of it because I thought it was so relevant what he was saying. And I can understand that, sometimes we make 2 steps forward, and sometimes, even though we make 2 steps forward, we could make 1 step back. But that 1 step back is not always a mistake. It could always be arranged by Krishna to give you further realizations of why you should remain in Krishna consciousness. As the English saying goes, failure is a pillar of success. So from Krishna's point of view, failing is not a bad thing. Of course, if you purposely, intentionally fail, that gets a little bit iffy. But if it's unintentional and it's just out of, pressure from your mind and your senses, which have not been fully purified, Krishna doesn't take that so seriously. And under that pressure of being unable to purify the mind and the senses and stay in control, we can also make spiritual advancement just by feeling morose and upset with ourselves. So this is very, very, very instructive for us to know that Krishna never turns his back. We only need to say Krishna's name once, and Krishna feels eternally indebted to that one person. This is Krishna consciousness. So my suggestion would be for all of you to stay on the boat. It's Lord Chaitanya's boat. He's picked us up. We have a good captain on the boat, Srila Prabhupada. We have favorable winds, the Vedas and Vedic teachings. There may be some rocking on the boat some days, some sickness is there. But don't jump off the boat, wait for calmer days. Hare Krishna. We'll stop there. Srimad Bhagavatam class ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Prema.
Yeah.